that you made $500,000, $500,000, or however you want to say it, from the lazy investor. Please
Mhm.
tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that tweet was probably about a month ago when we first hit 1 million in revenue for the Lazy Investors course, which was pretty cool because this year we kind of cut out all other revenue streams and really just focused on our Clover products rather than focusing on partnerships. And I know we'll talk about that later. But we launched the Lazy Investors course back in December 2021.
Funny you say that, because pro tip, if folks aren't doing that, what I do like about Twitter that no one really uses, it's actually been great for a long time, or at least no one that I'm aware of uses as well as they could. Their data is great. It's not useful to do anything, but what I do is I'll drop a tweet, and if it flops there, I'm like, oh, well, I'm done there. I don't lose anything because no one's paying attention to it. But if a tweet takes off, I'm like, ooh, this is something that needs to go on Instagram, where I
Yes.
know it'll perform, and then I'll be like, oh, and I need to make I know skits are really big on TikTok. So another reason I don't do TikTok as much is because it just takes so much to create a video, because usually I do skit format. So like what people see is a 3-minute video that might take me 3 hours. So,
No, I get that.
for no
I get
turnaround
it.
or for no
Yeah.
return.
Well, and I mean, I will say that some of the best performing content I've ever had on TikTok is something that took me like 2 seconds. TikTok is like the unhinged platform. It's like people want to see you raw and like just pulling up the phone and having a conversation. Like a lot of people even view TikTok as like mini podcast episodes where you'll just be playing like a TikTok in the background while you're washing your dishes or something. So it's really for me in terms of growing on TikTok, and like I'm not an expert TikToker because I find the app pretty frustrating, just because sometimes you can end up on the bad side of TikTok, just like sometimes you can end up on the bad side of Twitter, where all you're getting is trolls on trolls on trolls on trolls. And the way the algorithm works is, if those are the type of people who are engaging with your content and trolling you, they're going to show it to more people exactly like that. So It can be very frustrating. But a lot of what I post on Instagram gets repurposed on TikTok. Repurposing is huge as a content creator, especially if you're a new content creator with limited resources. With Twitter, I totally resonate with what you're saying, because you get to test stuff out, because people would get really annoyed if you were posting on Instagram 5+ times a day. Even like 3+ times a day is pushing it. Like most of us are doing once, maybe twice, or maybe even once every couple of days. But Twitter, it's like you can post on Twitter all day long, and like you'll get rewarded the more you post. So it's a beautiful place to test stuff out, just like TikTok is a wonderful place to test stuff out as well. So yeah, that's kind of our hierarchy right now. But when it comes to what is our biggest sales engine, our biggest lead generation is Instagram, through both organic traffic and paid traffic, but also our email list. Our email list is where we sell.
You mentioned a couple times that you started at least on 2 platforms, and the course in 2021. Did something happen? Or I guess I'll ask it another way. Why 2021?
So Clover has had a journey. So I started Clover as a blog back in September 2017. But it was not a money blog, because I didn't know anything about money back then. I was writing about mental health. I was writing about some like relationship challenges I was going through at the time, and kind of just using it as like basically like a live journal. And over the years, as my mental health and things like that started to heal and change, I couldn't really ignore the fact that I needed to address my relationship with money, because it was causing a lot of stress, a lot of issues in all areas of my life, as we know it does. And so I decided to start sharing kind of my money journey, where I would literally share everything I spent my money on for a month and like talk about it on this blog. And that's what I did for a long time. I didn't, dive into teaching people about things. I'd occasionally, talk about different things inside of those blog posts. But after doing that for 2 years, in mid 2020, I had an acquaintance reach out and say, hey, I think you have a skill set that is really needed. Would you want to do a class on budgeting? And I was like, sure. I don't know how to do that, but I'll do it. And so I spent a ton of time putting together all the slides and practicing, and the webinar went really well. And after that, people wanted to work with me. So I was like, I guess I could do some one-on-one coaching. And I started kind of dabbling in that space in 2020. And with that and a full-time job and running the blog and running a YouTube channel, which my YouTube channel is like laughable. It's a baby. I was just feeling really, really burnt out in 2020. And around October in 2020, after having done Clobear the blog for 3 years at that point, I was like, do I really want to keep doing this where I'm spending so much time, some money, and so much energy on this thing that really isn't, doing anything? Like it's bringing me purpose, it's bringing me happiness, but like I'm also really tired and really burnt out. So I took a break, October 2020 and all the way until December, to see if I wanted to keep doing it or not. And by December, I had decided, yes, I want to give this everything that I have for a year. And if nothing happens in that time frame, if it's still exactly where I am today and it's not producing anything, it's not turning into something that I could take full time, then I'll quit or I'll reevaluate. And so that's why January 2021, I was like, you know what, we're just going to go all in on this. There's never going to be a better time. And if I don't try, I'm going to be disappointed someday. I'm going to be mad that I didn't at least try to give it all I had. And then 8 months later, I quit my job and did it full time.
So I'm going to do a freeze frame here, because this will probably be a section of, probably go something like from burnout to $500,000.
Right?
Nice. I got my chapter, my thumbnail freeze frame.
I love it. I love it.
If y'all don't see that, y'all can drop or watch another video about how I choose freeze frames in different videos. But that's a great bundle